Good afternoon, people, and welcome to this Rangers Review afternoon briefing live from Ibrox Stadium. I'm joined by Joshua Barrie, who's just spotted a potential Rangers player down there.
Tom Lawrence getting his photos.
Yeah, Tom Lawrence just getting his photos taken down in the dugout. We've been watching the Rangers open training session as must have been a few thousand maybe that have turned out today to watch the players strut their stuff on the field. The big notable thing we've seen was Alfredo Morelos taking part in the session, which is encouraging stuff. Joshua, you were watching it alongside me, but what did you take from it? You're going to be writing a piece on the intricacies of the actual session itself, so good luck with that. But
well, there wasn't.
What did you take away?
You're implying that there wasn't too many. It wasn't the most thorough session you'll ever see. Obviously, the players all played at the weekend. Some played against Tottenham here on Saturday. The rest of them played in a bounce game yesterday against Queen's Park. So it's very much a recovery session. There might not have been that much interesting things in terms of what they did on the pitch because it was recovery. But I think having spoken to a few players there, Derek, and just getting a general feel about things before the end of the season, there is a lot to discuss and a lot to sum up from pre-season as a whole. Some interesting details, speaking to James Sands, Charlie McCann and Scott right there about what it's been like in pre-season working with the manager in terms of allowing him to get his ideas across. We hear that a lot, but there were some interesting details from all the players in that regard. So, obviously we also have the news. Van Bronckhorst just spoke to Sky and said that Alfredo Morelos very close, effectively, to signing a new contract. So plenty to discuss as ever. Not the in-depth training session some of us would have hoped for, but we'll survive, won't we?
Absolutely. I'm glad you talked about Morelos because Scott D gets in touch. Sky Sports interviewed Gio apparently, and it's been suggested Alfie might stay. Any thoughts? You have you noticed that the manager did speak with regards to the Buffalo, and it was good to see him out in the training pitch today. That certainly has given a lot of supporters encouragement that he could be back before too long. What do you make of what the manager said, Joshua, on Morelos?
I'm going to read it out now. Speaking to Sky Sports, he's very positive, he being Morelos, about signing a new contract. We're doing our best to get Morelos signed to a new deal. Hopefully in the next coming weeks, we will sort it out. Talks are ongoing. It's not definitive, but it sounds pretty convincing, doesn't it? So definitely encouraging for everyone who wants Morelos to stay. And it's just hundreds of seagulls going about us here, Derek.
Yeah, there is.
Very unnerving.
I tell you what.
We won't make this a long video because I don't know about anyone else, but seagulls are potentially my least favourite animal. They're up there.
Yeah, they get a bad rep, to be honest, in terms of the.
But back to Morelos, that's obviously positive news. I thought he looked very sharp in terms of. A lot of players have played games Morelos hasn't, and I think you could tell with the intensity he was training at, even if it wasn't necessarily a high intensity session. I thought he looked sharp. Good to see him back for the team, and hopefully he'll be back for, if not the away European leg, the home one. You'd imagine that Livingston would come too soon, given he wasn't involved in either game that weekend.
Yeah, but I tell you, he is loved. We all know that already, but he scored a goal, folks. You've seen it on our social media accounts on Twitter, where they had little small goals and they had to do a little drill and then score, put the ball into the back of the net. He scored, and you should have heard the cheer. It was almost as if he'd scored.
He'd missed about three beforehand, which is why he'd missed it.
He did. Him and Tavernier missed it. You can see that on our social media accounts as well, which was quite amusing. But great to see the buff back. Training with his teammates. Any other things that sort of caught your eye? It was a great day, I've got to say, folks. If you did attend, you'd have seen it. Well organised. They brought players out for interview, like Scott Wright, Fashion Sakala, Leon King, Stephen Davis, James Tavernier as well, who was put on the spot with regards to his new contract. He said that talks are ongoing. Hopefully that'll be revealed soon. That'll be a massive bit of news to tie down the skipper on a new contract. But he said that he didn't quite say it was signed, sealed and delivered just yet, but certainly
I think he'll be staying for a while based on everything that's come out, obviously, and also the fact that I don't think it's a surprise at all, is it, that Tavernier's in talks about a new contract. In terms of what else was interesting, I honestly think we'll have the interviews with Sands, McCann and Wright out on the YouTube channel over the next few days, and some really interesting details in there. Good opportunity to speak to all three players in depth about pre-season, what their hopes are. It was good to talk to Sands about how he's feeling now after 6 months at the club, where he views his long-term possession. Gave some nice details on some of the Americans who got in touch with him when he signed for Rangers. Scott Wright, pretty open as well about the competition for places on the right wing. Charlie McCann speaking in depth about his hopes for this season in terms of breaking in and getting consistent first team minutes. So I think the squad looks pretty ready and settled for the new season. We talked to me and Johnny about the Queen's Park highlights this morning, and obviously the Spurs game of the weekend as well. I think lots of positives to take from that, but ultimately it's a really hard start next week against Livingston, and for all the positivity a pre-season can bring, you need to go and win the first game of the season and set it up well. So you can again, as we said this morning, you can take inclinations of what everyone's trying to do, how the squad's been built, but ultimately the success on the pitch over the next few months will determine, I guess, how successful a pre-season has been.
Yeah, I like this comment, and I liked what Fashion Sakalis said. Joshua, very ambitious. He was interviewed, of course, at the side of the pitch. Said that he scored 12 goals last season, and he's targeting double this season, so 24 goals. Can you see him hitting 24?
No, because I don't think he'll get that much time on the pitch comparatively, as it stands. I mean, I think he's a player who could be quite effective in certain types of games. Motherwell away, the 3-1, 3-1 game, 3-1 the end of last season.
For the hat-trick,
yeah.
No,
the other one.
Yeah.
That was a good example as well. Something that came through speaking to all the players today, competition, and having speaking to just a couple of different people as well. Competition is such a cliche, but I think it is so good for bringing the best out of players. Whether that be new players who have been here for a while, and the squad certainly has in every single position, you'd say, apart from left back, but Yilmaz obviously expected to sign any moment now. There's competition in every single position. Yeah,
there's some folks saying, was Yilmaz there? I seen somebody posting a picture over in the Sandy Jardine site, stand over yonder. You can't make out if that is Yilmaz. It's just that it's so far away. I'm not too sure if that was, to be honest, Joshua. But it's certainly a signing that it should be done sooner rather than later. I'm excited about this boy. I must admit, we've done a scouting report on him, haven't we? And he looks, for the money that Rangers are spending on him, he's coming here. And I'm sure he's going to excite the supporters. He looks top drawer.
Yeah, I was speaking to a couple of people about him today. I think the recruitment team were very excited about the signing as well. Obviously, it's as good as done, and Van Bronckhorst said as much during his press conference after the Tottenham game. I think he's going to be a really exciting signing. I think you only have to look at the reaction of the Besiktas players and fans to his departure to tell you what type of person he is and character. Adding real quality in that area of the pitch as well. Someone who's pretty suited to Van Bronckhorst's style. I don't think he's going to be someone who you see cross from deep hundreds of times. I think he'd be very suited to Van Bronckhorst's style and hopefully a big success at Ibrox.
Yeah, I mean, this coming here from Nemi 1872, it touches on obviously Sakala, as we mentioned there, but Cholak coming in for a little bit of unfair criticism.
I think that's a bit harsh.
He's only managed 1 in 4 games so far. It is pre-season, folks, let's remember.
We spoke about this morning, actually, me and Johnny, and we were using the example of Darwin Nunez, who, there was articles and I've seen stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
He's had a poor pre-season.
Yeah.
It's literally, I mean, Matt, you even look at Van Bronckhorst saying after the Tottenham game, I didn't care about the result. It's, as much evidence as you need. It's about acclimatising, getting used to it. I think Cholak will have a pretty good season, score a good number of goals. I think he's in there to be a focal point. Sometimes that might be a bit unglamorous, but just have to give him a few weeks because ultimately we don't know how he'll get on.
Yeah, I think he'll do very well. And I like this question from William. It gets in touch. Alfie loves the club. Can you see him and Cholak playing together in some games? He'll create plenty of chances for Alfie with his movement. Sort of tend to agree. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that in action.
Don't think it'll happen. Yeah, no, I think they're quite similar. I don't think it's improbable, but I don't think they're two really necessarily different types of strikers. No, Morelos can play deep, but I think the whole point of Van Bronckhorst getting him going again was playing closer to goal. So I think they'll drive one another. They'll be really competitive. I don't think it's any surprise that you see Morelos coming out and showing intensity and energy with a bit of competition up front. He'll know that he has someone in Cholak who's coming here at the peak of his career that will want to play games and score goals and take that position off him at points. So again, that can only be a good thing because last season he didn't have that at all. There was no, even when he was had played a lot of games. There just wasn't that level of competition.
Yeah. Listen, folks, that'll do us there. Just a little review of what we've seen here at Ibrox, and a special note to the supporters that came in and had a chat with myself. I'm not too sure if they bumped into you, Joshua, but
you were the
I was signing
TikTok
autographs
loyal.
and doing selfies, so I'm a TikTok star. So
huge thing.
yeah, it's been an absolutely magnificent afternoon here at Ibrox. Great fun had all round, well organised. Like I said, Darryl Curry and Chris Boyd comparing and interviewing the players. We can see Tom Lonsdale is just about to be interviewed by Sky Sports, so stay tuned for that. That'll do us there, folks. Thanks to everyone interacting with the show as ever. Remember, just on the ticker below, we've got that great offer on the site, just £2 for 2 months worth of content. Head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. And as Joshua says, we've got interviews coming up from Scott Wright, Charlie McCann and James Sands in the next few days, so keep your eyes peeled for those. Okay, we'll be back again tomorrow, but until then, enjoy the rest of your Monday.